This is the Top Entrepreneurs Podcast, where founders share how they started their companies and got filthy rich or crash and burn. Each episode features revenue numbers, customer counts, and other insider information that creates business news headlines.
We went from a couple of $100,000 to $2.7 million.
I had no money when I started the company.
It was $160 million, which is the size of many IPOs.
We're bootstrapped.
We have like 22,000 customers.
With over 5 million downloads in a very short amount of time, major outlets like Inc. are calling us the fastest growing business show on iTunes. I'm your host, Nathan Latka, and here's today's episode. Hello, everybody. My guest today is John Younger, and he is the founder of over 5 startups. He has made more mistakes than most of us could imagine. He's currently the CEO of HireMojo, a SaaS hiring automation platform with a RecruiterBot. He also founded Accolo, an award-winning RPO, and was VP of HR at Bank of America. He has a BS in math from Notre Dame and was on the U.S. national rowing team. All right, John, are you ready to take us to the top?
Sure.
All right. Quite a variety of things you've jumped into, which is great. So what years were you VP of HR at Bank of America? Because I remember, I'm guessing that's kind of when this idea started festering.
It was from about 87 to 93, 94.
Got
and
it.
it was actually when I was managing all the recruiting for 2 divisions, about 16,000 employees, that I asked the question, is this really the best we can do? And that's really what set me on the course that I'm actually still on today.
And so did you launch the company back in 95?
I didn't. I actually launched a company called Ynet, and I launched it actually in November 96 and sold it, February 96, sold it in November 96 to a company called TriNet that outsources HR and payroll.
And how much was that sale price?
That sale price, well, it depends on it was mostly in stock, so it's hard to put a dollar value on it.
At the time, how much stock was it?
It was probably pushing $4 million, something like that.
Okay. And keep the story going there. What happened after?
So I stayed with TriNet, and we were on Inc. magazine's 500 fastest growing companies. Every year I was there for the next 4 years. And in fact, we had really hit some milestones that allowed us to ultimately get a major investment from General Atlantic, who ultimately took it public. I left in early 2000 and ultimately started Accolo. So what I realized is that all of this knowledge of how to recruit is completely tribal. It's still tribal today for most companies. And so one of the first recruitment process outsourcing companies, Accolo, is like a turnkey internal recruiting department.
And what happened to that company?
So ended up growing Accolo, and it struggled at first. Imagine having a recruiting-related company right as the bubble burst in 99, 2000, 2001. So no one wanted to touch anything related to recruiting at that time. Ended up getting, through sheer force of will, through that period, liquidated my entire retirement.
Which was how much?
I don't know, a couple $100,000 at the time.
And how old were you?
Let's see. That was so long ago. So like in my mid 30s.
So you're late 40s, early 50s now?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exactly. So ended up building it version 1. I ended up finding a group of 9 unemployed developers in Fremont, California, who worked with me to ultimately create it. And we got version 1 out in 2002. As one of the leading recruitment process outsourcing companies, you can appreciate that we were given the hardest, most wacky jobs possible to support, because anything that was easy, everyone filled. So we got things like there was a parasitic engineer for Texas Instruments, and they wanted someone from India who was trained in college here and then wanted to move back to India. So
So I want to spend most of this time on your current company. So fast forward on this company. Did you raise capital on Accolo and did you sell it? What happened?
We ended up being the 42nd fastest growing company in America in 2006. Raised money in 2007.
How much?
About $4 million. And we ended up getting to a place where we're hitting about $2 million a quarter and growing quickly right when the bubble burst in 2008, 2009. Brutal period. Most of the companies that did what we're doing went out of business. In fact, one of them, Hirian, I called the CEO right as they were filing Chapter 7 and took over all their customers because it was going to hurt the industry if we hadn't done that. And then it was really a little later on, we got Accolo back on track and started HireMojo around 2015. We realized we had built a platform that had really grown to learn with every job and ultimately put this RecruiterBot concept to work.
Well, so John, what happened to Accolo? Did you sell it? Did you shut it
down?
It still
exists. Yeah, it's still out there.
Oh, is it part of HireMojo?
No, separate company.
Okay, yeah. So that's a big gap. Why aren't you still involved there? How did you leave? What happened?
I am still involved. I have someone else running it, but we recognized that there were two totally different businesses. Accolo is a recruitment process outsourcing company that, like I said, is a turnkey internal recruiting department. The technology underneath it, we realized could support hundreds of thousands of businesses that didn't want RPO but wanted to make it possible to fill jobs way more easily.
Okay.
So we separated the companies in January 2015.
And what was the size of the combined company right before you split it up? I mean, were you doing 8 million, 10 million, 20 million a year?
It was 8-9 million, something like that. We had clawed our way back.
Okay. And how did you, a lot of people think about doing this spin outs. How did you structure the cap table at HireMojo?
Oh, this is, you're going to laugh at this, Nathan, because this is very unusual. So imagine having a company whose cap table has an ABC rounds of financing, has preferred warrants with put rights, a very complex cap table. And so it occurred to me that to separate out the companies, we wanted to end up with the final state would be two companies with a completely flat cap table. So everything's common shares. So to do that, we issued notes to the preferred shareholders and the warrant holders. So that created a note and transferred their stock to all common. And then the new company was created by assuming some portion of those preferred notes. So the acquiring company was able to basically buy the assets, in this case of the recruitment process outsourcing business, with no cash out, but simply by assuming notes. So the end result was HireMojo has the original corporate structure, but all common shares. Accolo Business Services exists and is all flat from an ownership standpoint. And all this was done in a way that was tax neutral.
Why would the investors agree to this?
Because they're getting paid back, whereas before there was no guarantee of getting paid back.
Even though they lose all their rights?
Well, they lose their preferred rights, but they start getting cash back. That's right. And they were willing to do that.
Many of you know I am buying companies that I really, really like, and there's no quicker way for me to get to the bottom of what is happening on that website than using this tool called nathanlatka.com/hotjar, HOTJAR. It basically will give me a recording. Okay, when anybody lands on the website, it'll give me a recording of where the viewer is scrolling, and obviously does the basic stuff like heat maps too. But I learned so much about where the users are scrolling and clicking on my site using that tool. It helps me increase conversion rates, make more money, and grow those businesses faster. And we'll have to see what happens with those businesses. But I'm buying them. I'm buying them very quick, and I'm using nathanlatka.com/hotjar for all of my website analytics. You can too. I work with them. It's totally free. You can go to nathanlatka.com/hotjar. No credit card required. Again, use it as much as you want. nathanlatka.com/hotjar. I'll see you there. Okay, HireMojo. So, it sounds like a more automated platform than, the high touch model you were in before. What are companies paying you per month on average, or is it a performance-based model?
Well, let me tell you what it is first, and I'll tell you the model. So it's really a platform that makes it possible for almost anyone without any recruiting talent or skill to fill jobs. So that in itself is remarkable. So we incorporate this robot and all of the premium for-fee sites that you would typically pay a lot of money to. I don't want to say their names because I want to be careful about branding issues. But if you want to link to something, you can do that through us. And, you know, if you feel like you've got to deal with the monsters under your bed, you can probably do that with us too. And
that was very creatively worded.
And if you want to build your career, you can probably do that with us as well. And so just know that we buy in bulk and just include it, because at the end of the day, we're solving a social problem. And I'll come back to the structure here in a minute. And that is that right now today, there's about 6 million open jobs in the United States. And a full third of those have been open 3 months or longer. And we think that's criminal. That's the impact sociologically, economically, to individuals and businesses is tremendously bad.
Yep. But John, take me. So I don't want to run out of time here. We have about 5 minutes left. Tell me about the business model. What is it? A SaaS model?
Business model. We've been through several, and here's where we are now. And this one seems to be working. So companies come to us, and we determine together how many jobs they need supported over the next year, how many recruiters they want to use, because this actually eliminates executive retained and contingency search completely as well. It eliminates the need for an applicant tracking system. It eliminates the need for all those premium site costs. All of those go away. So we scope it out, and we determine a number of Mojo points a company gets throughout the year. And then they simply use their Mojo points to do things. So if you have a job for a software engineer, it's 7 Mojo points. And you get everything, the full platform, the outreach, all the screening, all the interviewing. It finds them, screens them, and then if you don't use them, it just rolls to the next month like cell phone minutes.
Okay, got it. So they're buying, it's perform. You've basically said these 7 actions equal 1 Mojo point. If you do all 7, it's 7 Mojo points. Here's a package for 1,000 Mojo points.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
What is
size? The average subscription size is somewhere between $10,000 and $50,000
a month,
a year,
a year. Okay, got it. $10,000 and $50,000. If I just to avoid going down every cohort, if I had to force you to pick an average, would you say it's like $20,000 a year?
Yeah, 20 to 25.
Okay, something like that. And do they renew each year after year, or is it very chunky?
No, they renew. Our level of renewals is north of 90%.
In terms of logos or revenue?
Both.
Okay, they're both pretty high then. Okay, great.
Usually there's more revenue. People usually scope a subscription that's smaller than they think they're going to need because they're not sure. And then they start using it and fall in love with it. And so we see a lot of upgrades.
And how many people have bought Mojo points to date? How many customers are you working with?
About 200.
Oh, that's healthy. Okay, good. So, I mean, can I take 200 times about, $20,000 a year or $800 a month? You guys are north of 160 a month right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. But okay, so can we say between 160 a month and 170 a month?
Yeah, it's probably closer to 2.
Oh, it's closer to 2. Okay, so I'm missing revenue somewhere.
Yeah. We have So its average size is probably a little bigger then.
Yeah, that makes sense. And now, have you raised capital on this one as well, or have you bootstrapped?
We have not.
Oh, good, bootstrap. That's great. And if you take me back, so the breakup story between Accolo and HireMojo, what year was that again?
That was 2015, January.
2015. Okay, and what's the team size now just on HireMojo?
So we're still small, lean, and mean. We're about 10.
I love that. The revenue per employee is high. That's good. 10 people, and where are you based?
We're based in San Francisco.
And when you look at, I love a bootstrap company in San Francisco. That makes my day. What are you willing to pay to acquire one of these customers? What's your CAC on average?
Right now, it's about $1,700.
Okay. And now you say that with confidence because you're assuming a lifetime value of what?
Well, the lifetime value is, if you figure an average subscription that we talked about, it's too early to tell, but at 90% retention and renewal, it's probably 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, it's over, $150,000 definitely.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you're getting, that's actually not a lot. So if your average first year contract size is $20,000 and your CAC is $1,700, you're paid back in the first 2 months, month basically. Why are you not more aggressive on your CAC?
Well, we are. I think it's all in motion. Like I said, we refined the model this year. We had to work out how to combine a subscription SaaS platform with a consumption COGS, and we were able to do that with this gamification.
Yep.
And the point. So it's just a matter of timing.
And give me a sense of the growth. So we know you're at about 180 in MRR today. Take me back a year, December 2016. What were you at?
Well, we've been growing 8 to 12% a month, to give you a sense, pretty consistently. So we dial it back. So we were about a third, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. So call it somewhere around 60, 65, 70 grand, something like that.
Yeah. Right.
That's great. That's great growth. Really good growth. And where are most of the customer gains coming? How are people finding you?
Mostly referrals. As you can appreciate, in the absence of a big bucket of money, doing carpet bombing marketing campaigns is not something that we've aggressively pursued. And at this point, the referral activity is so robust that's keeping us going. Obviously, we want to accelerate that, but that's what's working right now.
Interesting. Okay, very good. Let's wrap up here with the famous five, John. Number one, what's your favorite business book?
Oh, God. It's probably A Great Game of Business, Jack Stack. I found it to be really the great game of business.
Yep. Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
There are several. I think Elon Musk is fascinating as a way of running a series of companies.
Number three, what's your favorite online tool?
Oh, boy. It depends on for what.
Building the business, growing the business.
Well, HireMojo is my favorite online tool.
Besides your own.
Yeah. I think that, favorite online tool, like I said, we use tools aggressively. And so I think I'm really appreciative of Amazon Web Services for being able to scale infrastructure without the corresponding pain that used to be there.
How many hours of sleep do you get every night?
8.
That's pretty good. And what's your situation? Married, single, you have kids?
Married, 2 kids,
and
awesome spouse.
And how old are you, John?
I'm 54.
54. Last question. Take us back 34 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Well, the best way I can summarize this is the older I get, the more I know and the less I care. And I think that probably would have served me well then.
So you would have told your 20-year-old self kind of maybe care less?
Yeah, just be a little less intense, just take things a little easier.
There you guys have it from John. Quite a story. Had a company, launched it, is doing very, very well, but they realized they had really two assets in that company. One was higher touch, more professional services almost, and then there was underlying technology. He decided to kill two birds with one stone in 2015, both clean up his cap table and spin out this new company, which he did. It's called HireMojo. Their team is now 10 people, and they do exactly what they say or they sound like they do. They help you find qualified candidates for positions you have open, and you don't have to have any recruiting background. They're helping over 200 customers right now. They've passed about 180 grand in monthly recurring revenue, up 3x from just 12 months ago in December 2016. They're retaining both on a revenue and logo basis over 90% of their customers every year, spending $1,700 on CAC, which they get paid back instantly. Super healthy economics with their team of 10 out there in San Francisco. John, thank you for taking us to the top.
You bet.